Holmes has been introduced as a Denver Nugget. We're going to talk about our takeaways from that presser, the latest on Russell Westbrook, and some updated thoughts, including his perspective on the whole thing. Around the association, the Thunder ad, my favorite guy, Isaiah Hartenstein. And then later in the show, we'll have a little fun. Snake drafting, our favorite ex-Nuggets. Will KCP be picked? Stay tuned. So much easier to laugh when you're in pain.
It's all you can do, really.
Right. What is, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR show. Oh my gosh, live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota store. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. I said this on yesterday's show. I'll say it again. I rode in a Grand Highlander for the first time. Not just a Highlander, a Grand one.
How was it?
It was like a Highlander, but even more grand. On today's show, guys, we just came from the presser with DaRon Holmes. It was pretty interesting, so I'm excited to get to that. There's actually a lot of stuff to talk about. Why'd you dress in all black today? Is it?
It's laundry day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
there are some funeral vibes, but I didn't know that when I got dressed. I just thought it was a normal Monday.
You showed up and were like, well, I'm appropriately dressed today.
Yep.
Over here, the man with the wind in his hair, Harrison Wind.
Fellas, good to be back on a Monday. Just to keep you updated on my sleep schedule.
Yeah, let me hear it.
1 hour last night.
Oh.
1 hour
real?
of good, solid sleep.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
What a trooper, man.
It's tough to complain. It really is. I'm not a complainer, but it was 1 hour last night.
No, but you don't like you say that at the start of the show, but some people come in and that's their whole thing.
Yeah.
I had a tough day.
Yeah.
But Wynn's very steady she goes.
Gets
you know?
it done. You should, instead of saying you got 1 hour sleep, say, I got to spend 23 hours with my beautiful daughter.
With my daughter.
Last night. Yeah, 23.
Yeah. Well, I get to spend all the time with her at night because she just sleeps all day.
Yeah.
Like she's probably sleeping right now.
Yeah. It's a tough break, man.
Deep REM cycle right now. Can't get that at night, though.
It's a tough break.
What are you going to do?
We're going to open up today by talking about the presser because there's a lot to get to. Maybe news will break later on in the show. Probably not, but maybe news will, and we'll kind of push that back as far as we can. But today, the top story, DaRon Holmes introduced. This is always a special day. I mean this sincerely. The first time you get to meet the player, family comes into town. For the players, it's a huge deal. You know, you think about what that moment is. I will say this, just can we take people behind the curtain?
Yes.
I think in your mind, like you grew up watching movies of the press conference, and it just feels so big. You know what I mean? Like you think about Rock Tidwell, you know, Jerry Maguire, what the presser looks like in the lights, and it's theatrical, it's Hollywood. The real thing is just like a gathering, a small gathering of people in some awkward corner. There's hardly anybody there. The technology comes and goes. It's actually so underwhelming. I always think about this with players. In their mind, they probably have a vision of what this feels like. And then you get there and you're like, that was that?
Dude, I always thought about it with the guy, Christian Brown, right, is coming from Kansas.
Yeah.
Kansas is a big deal over there. And
in Kansas?
In Kansas. And to those people and the facilities and the money. And I think he got to Denver and he was like,
yeah,
small media day.
My all-time favorite was 2017 with Trey Lyles, Light, and Monte Morris when they held up the flag because they didn't have jerseys for them to hold up, so they just held up a flag.
That was the all-time worst.
A wrinkly flag that actually somebody should have ironed or something. A hilarious one.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you just walk out there and you step at the podium and it's just pretty much us.
Yeah.
You know? Like, there was practically nobody at this presser today. There was
true.
like 10 media people.
This
is almost half of the people that were there, us three and Kale.
Another interesting thing, like, what do you think that means? Because you are right. There are times where the media...
It's not like there was Broncos practice today. Where the hell is everybody?
There's nothing going on, actually.
Rockies are in season, I know, but don't think many media are camping out down there.
Took note of this pick, including the Nuggets players themselves, perhaps. We'll get to that in a second.
Well, there you go. Because I would actually say of all the things... Actually, I don't want to start there. That's too much of a downer.
It's a great segue, though.
I'll say this. I found DaRon Holmes. I spoke with him very briefly afterwards, just kind of doing the introduction and, you know, what have you. But observing him, speaking with him briefly, seeing his family, he really does seem like a great guy. He seems like a down-to-earth...
Super nice guy.
Down-to-earth, you know, good dude. And that's my number one takeaway from him. You're very young. I've said this the other day, but these guys keep getting younger.
I think it's like you're getting older.
The gap that they keep getting
The gap's
getting
widening.
wider.
He was also his shirt. What do you think of his shirt?
See, this is why I love Harrison. We are different. I'm a person that believes in personality type. I didn't notice.
Did you notice his shirt?
Kind of a see-through vibe going on.
Yeah, a
or-
little like black see-through
Yeah.
action going on.
I thought it was a good look.
I mean,
it was a good look.
So what do you think of this? You give me the analysis.
It was something that like a very young Gen Z person would wear.
Okay.
That's where I was going.
I agree.
There
with
you
that.
go.
I agree. It was a good look.
What stood out to you though, Harrison? What's like sort of one of your big impressions from it?
DaRon Holmes seems like a really, like you said, down-to-earth, grounded, respectful, like super well-mannered. He called Tommy Balchetis Mr. Tommy. Tommy Bracelets, who was at the presser today.
Yeah. Get his name right.
Mr. Tommy.
Bracelets.
He's just like very well-mannered. You can tell he was raised the right way. Very polite. And it seems like he's got a really good mindset to him.
I agree.
You know, he was asked a couple questions about his goals as an NBA player and what he wants to accomplish in his career. And a lot of his answers were, pretty much just, I just like to keep my feet, under me. I take one day at a time. I never feel like I'm a finished product. I don't really like to think that I've found success or accomplished my goal. So he seems driven and motivated and really grounded.
I love. What did he say? I always try to. What was it? Stand where my feet are.
Yeah, stay where my feet are at.
I love.
Yeah.
It's so folksy, man.
I love it.
I did too. That's such a folksy way of saying.
I was gonna go right to the same stuff Wynn did. To be honest, the perspective on those answers, the way he talked about Jokic, and this is a small and easy thing to get right, but particularly the line, "Look, I'm just gonna go and learn from him." That's something you always want to hear. I just thought he was relatively humble, and that's, I think, for a guy who's gonna, you hope is someone who does the dirty work and is versatile and can plug multiple holes down the line. The right perspective is important, and it's very easy to win a press conference. The work's done on the floor, but you don't want to lose a press conference. And I thought he did great. I thought he showed good perspective for the type of player that he is and the expectations for what he is coming into Denver.
I think so as well, and I will say nothing incendiary, nothing like that. Like sometimes you want a guy to come in, maybe he'll say something hot. I did like your note about the goals, whatever. Like he was like, I'm not going to think too far, because sometimes you ask a guy, "What's your goal here?" and it was the worst answer of all time. Do you remember?
Was it Bones?
No, not from a Nugget. DeAndre Ayton said to get a second contract. It's the number one pick.
Like you're not supposed to say that out loud.
That early too.
It's like to get a second contract, and you're like, you're the one pick. You should get like 4 contracts, whatever. Also, where do you what? But he didn't even go there. It was just like, hey, I'm going to take the game, and I think that's a good mindset for a guy in his status. I do think it's different if you're, Zion Williamson coming in. It should be like, I want to win championships or that. I thought it was good of like, I got to just take what gives me and make the most of every situation I'm in. I thought that was great. I will get to your point though now. The biggest standout to me, he was asked who on the team has reached out to him, and he said, I will remember this for the rest of my life.
I know. And as he said that, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be something absolutely epic.
Okay. I'll remember it for the rest of my life, Harrison. Julian Strother, and he's the only one.
Only one.
Nobody else on the team has reached out to DaRon Holmes.
on, guys.
It clearly
Come
meant a lot to
on.
him.
And it meant so
It
much to
clearly
him.
meant a lot to him.
This is F- Denver Nuggets. I'm
Dude,
talking about the players here.
We've lost our way.
It's a small note, but yeah, man, the Nuggets way that we fell in love with there for a 3-4 year window, that would never happen, and it did. And look, it's a small note.
It's not a small note. It's actually my top note.
Well, then I'm glad.
We need to sign Monte Morris back just so he can welcome the latest draft pick to Denver.
to be
brother, I
clear,
was-
coaches, front office have reached out. That like
We're
that,
just talking about
whatever.
the team. The
Just
players. Someone got drafted. Let me get his phone number. I want to welcome the kid to Denver. I was going to make the same Monte Morris joke, Wind, but then
Sorry.
that also led me to a question of who do we think, who should have that expectation on the roster? Who who should take that role on with Monte gone. Definitely, clearly wasn't any of the starters, but shout out Julian. Good work.
Shout out Julian, who we love. Chill guy, just
Julian.
chill guy, and taking on a responsibility far exceeding his years in the league. But let's just go through this because it actually does bother me. I do think there is something too. You always ask, who are the leaders of a team? Who are the guys that reach out? Jokic is currently in Serbia, training with the national team. Somewhat understandable. I'm not going to give him a full pass, but I'm going to give him a half pass. I do think he could reach out and send a text like, "Hey Cal, what's the number? Hook me up." Okay, here goes. "Hey man, welcome to the team. I'm Nicola. I'm busy right now, but looking forward to getting to know you." That's not that's something that's reasonable to expect of Jokic at age 29.
It is. Even that said, I still would it's almost maybe different for the best player and 3-time MVP.
Means more.
It means more, but I mean, maybe people don't expect it
Hey,
per se.
Jokic called Anthony Black, for God's sake. I forgot
Unbelievable
about this.
callback
He called
from
Anthony
D-line.
Black.
That is
that's
a
right.
great one. Yeah.
Well, we actually don't know. It might have been a voice recording.
That's so true. You're right.
We never
It actually almost
we never
certainly was.
quite got to the bottom of that, but I think it was a voice recording.
And the AI boom that's
actually a good
succeeded it.
point.
It's just
Yeah.
worth considering.
Should
So
be
I mean,
incredible.
Jokic could just get an AI generated voice recording and send it out.
Yeah, but or he was deep faked. So look, Jamal's with Team Canada, Jokic with Team Serbia. We know Aaron Gordon.
Hold on.
Has a lot going on in the summer.
No, go one at a time here. So Jokic, we say, come on, man. It's kind of your job here as the captain of the team. Jamal Murray, unquestionably. Now, I think Jamal Murray's in a weird spot right now. We're going to get to him here in a little bit. But Jamal Murray, I think, would definitely be a guy that can reach out. He is on Team Canada, had a rough end of the year. Half pass for him, but also I just feel like it's his responsibility. Aaron Gordon has had a tough summer, has had a tough last couple of weeks. Another guy.
I'll give him a pass.
Well, let's just give him a full pass, although AG does seem like the guy that would reach out and just say, "Hey, man, welcome."
Right.
By the way, I guess there's slight Arizona connection, I guess. I don't know, maybe. Then after that, I was thinking, who's the fourth? I guess Michael Porter, you could say. He's been around. He's had an uncomfortable, he's had to go through that uncomfortable. So maybe he would empathize and say, "Hey, man, I know how hard it is to come into a new team."
Does Mike even know the draft happened though?
Good point. After
Did
that, I
Mike
was
get
thinking,
his phone back from Cabo?
Denver only has 4 vets. DeAndre Jordan, technically not on the Nuggets yet, so maybe it's weird or illegal.
No, that's not one. No. That can't be weird. He's on the Nuggets.
So he should have reached out. I mean, that's also his job, right? The vet. You should be reaching out.
definitely.
Those are your vets. After that, I was thinking, who's the next most responsible to do that, to reach out? I think Christian Brown and Zeke Naji are the two
Peyton.
most. Zeke Naji's the next most tenured person.
See, I think-
Zeke's not reaching out.
I
Bro.
view
Come on.
Christian as
It'd be
the
weird if Zeke reached out. If I was
Zeke's not reaching
who
out.
welcomed you to the team? Zeke Naji. You're like, is he on the team
You're
still?
on which team is he coach? I kind of view Christian as the kind of default leader of the second core, the young
agree.
group. He of the next wave, he's the vet.
Yeah.
So maybe it's something he could do, but I don't know, man. It just feels. I don't want to take this too far. This is, of course, just me talking, but I'm glad that Jamal is with another team right now, and so is Jokic.
They kind of needed to get away from the
I feel
Nuggets.
like maybe this team's it's been a long time together with a lot at stake and a lot. I mean, look,
Dad went out for got milk and cigarettes, and he'll be back any moment.
look. If we weren't obligated via ad sponsors, would we really show up for each other every single day on this show? So that's a joke.
speak for yourself.
That's a joke.
Man,
but,
that was I was like,
you guys were supposed to laugh.
I think so.
But 5 years later, you guys get it. It's a little. Maybe they need a little break from each other. Who knows?
It might be that. I mean, it might be that. A broader point. So first of all, unforgivable. Nuggets in a weird spot, perhaps. Maybe the fan base is unsettled. It's possible that the team, to your point, needs time away because they too are like, man, that was rough. We thought we had a title and we didn't get it, and they feel some reverberations. That being said, one of my bigger thoughts as I was thinking about this was that Christian Brown is like the 5th most senior Nugget right now, and he's played 2 years.
Yeah.
In the NBA.
Right.
And then when you really paint it like that, maybe they end up adding a Westbrook or another vet, maybe a couple vets or something like that, and it balances out a little bit. But I do think when you start thinking about these types of responsibilities, the little things that vets do, you go, oh yeah, man, there's just not that many on this team.
And it's a nice reminder of all the little things that went right the year the Nuggets dominated on their way to a title. Like, it wasn't just. everyone was doing every little piece.
Yeah.
All the way down to the small stuff. And honestly, even still, like this time of year, you were starting to hear like the guys are together. The guys are excited to be together. And there was something kind of special in the air from the jump. And I think that's probably one of the most difficult things about repeating is you could replicate all of it, but do you get that part again? You know, everyone wants to do all the little stuff. It all comes together. It all lines up. There was magic in the air that year.
Real quickly, a couple other loose odds and ends. DaRon Holmes.
I was just going to say, I'll give Michael Porter a quick pass as well. He's in the Philippines right now, as somebody in the chat said.
But that's a pass?
Do you know why he's there?
It's some type of nonprofit work. He's bringing awareness to
he's witnessing
child
firsthand the efforts to combat human trafficking and modern slavery.
Yeah, modern slavery, yep. And I'll tell you what, and I think I actually heard a report from somebody that interviewed or was part of a group interview where he's actually very passionate about it. People were trying to ask him other questions, and he was like, guys, that's not what this is about.
Yeah.
I want to do it. So Michael Porter, interesting cat, doing some good work, it sounds like. I mean, based on little I know. Last notes on DaRon Holmes. Reminded me of Christian Brown. How so? Two brothers look exactly like him. It's like Christian Brown. When you meet Christian Brown and his two brothers, they all just look like the same person, but slightly different heights. I thought that today. I didn't even know DaRon Holmes had brothers, two brothers that just looked exactly like him. Just
strong genes.
Yeah, different sizes.
Yeah. Basketball family. Like, you can tell those guys are basketball players, too.
No question about it. And then who else was there? Stan Kroenke was in the building witnessing. I always find it interesting what he attends and what he does not. Michael Malone was there, of course. Calvin Booth en route to, or probably already in Europe, possibly, I think, going to see Vlatko Čančar. So there is a chance that maybe a Vlatko Čančar deal gets brokered here before too long. Any other odds and ends from this?
Did you get to look him in the eyes and see how tall he was?
He's tall, man.
He seemed tall to me.
He
I was going to say that.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't mean a lot for me.
I know it doesn't, but I would say that I would walk away from saying taller than I expected.
Yeah, he seemed tall.
Interesting.
Legitimately tall.
On the flip side, the 2A guys were there.
Oh yeah, but both short. They were small. Both small.
Pretty small.
I missed them.
PJ Hall,
not
Alexander,
official,
Alexander. Yeah, maybe they weren't there.
Maybe they weren't.
Maybe those were just some other guys, unofficially. All right, let's take a break on the other side. The latest on Russell Westbrook. A little update. We'll also continue to talk about that and what it would mean.
Guys, check out Indeed. Indeed is a place to look for jobs. Indeed is where you can go to see job postings. We're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates very fast. So you can ditch the busy work, use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. So if you're looking to hire, check out Indeed. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent,
including us,
fast.
ALLCITY.
Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com. Indeed.com/AllCity. Indeed.com/AllCity. ALLCITY. Indeed.com/AllCity. Go there right now. Support our show by saying how you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Bet365, the NBA season is over. Your fun at Bet365 doesn't have to be. You can be betting along with futures. You could have taken a few stabs at the draft. You can already take a few stabs at who's going to win what awards, who's going to win the title, who's going to win what conference next year. Keep your eyes peeled as those numbers go up and change over the offseason at Bet365, where it's never ordinary. They believe every sport should be epic. Right now, new customers can choose between two offers when they open an account at Bet365. Use the code DNVR365 to sign up. Deposit $10 and choose between either a bet and get offer and place a bet of $5 or more and get $150 in bonus bets, or a first bet safety net offer by placing a bet up to $1,000. And if your qualifying bet loses, you receive a match refund in bonus bets. And you're not limited to the NBA here. You can be playing along with whatever if you're watching the Euros or Copa America, big game tonight for the fellas. You can keep an eye out for some lines at Bet365 as well. You must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, we are back here, segment 2. The latest on Russell Westbrook potentially coming to the Nuggets. I actually am going to say, I'm curious what you think here, Harrison. I'm going to say that I don't necessarily expect news too quickly. It's always possible, how these things happen. But I actually think this one might drag out a day or two. That's the impression I kind of get.
Yeah.
After last night.
Like, the Nuggets have 2 open roster spots. I think one's for a point guard. One, I think, is for a center. I think the Nuggets, they want to scratch their itch at backup center.
Yeah.
There we go. And the other one potentially for Russell Westbrook.
I get it.
So I think the backup center one happens first.
That was good.
I think the backup center one could happen today. And I think Russell Westbrook maybe happens in the next couple days. If it does happen at all.
So you actually expect the Westbrook one maybe to be the last domino?
The second of 2 dominoes.
That would be the last.
Yes.
We clarified. We get
The second of the 2.
The second of 2 dominoes. We haven't talked to you about this vote. Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, man. I think when everything was perfect in Denver, it would have felt like this type of a move, right? Just the notion of Russell Westbrook. Volatile, right? Potentially.
Oh yeah.
Potentially explosive in the volatile content, like in a bad way. Maybe this guy changes up the vibes. I think we're sitting here July 1st in a different situation. First of all, the vibes don't feel great. Second of all, they need any route to improve that they can, and I don't think Russell Westbrook is anywhere close to the best version of himself. And as many have pointed out, how a player like that ages, he's kind of a fascinating role player. He's had games and moments where he looks awesome. He's had other moments where you're like, why does that guy get to dribble and shoot and make choices? But Denver does not have a lot of routes or options to make this roster and this bench better. And the bar at backup point guard's been pretty low. Denver could use a little athleticism. He still has that, even if it's deteriorated. And they could use some ball handling. And he can do that, even if he's a bit of a wild card. So you can talk yourself into it pretty easily from the perspective of Nuggets don't have many cards left up their sleeve. And as of things stand right now, the roster's gotten worse 2 off seasons in a row. So Russ could bring some things that they need. And if you want to take an optimistic perspective on it, it's their best chance at getting better.
I hate this. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like the roster gotten worse 2 years in a row. I still think that last year had more to do with Jamal Murray's performance than the roster being bad. They did win more games. They had a better net rating when the non-Jokic minutes. They came short of the playoffs because Jamal Murray was his worst playoff run yet. Yeah. So to me, this idea that it's 2 years in a row, like this year to me is definitively a step back. This year does, but I don't think it's a thing that has been a process. Personally.
I mean, the Bruce thing was A, inevitable, and B, I still
we laughed at everybody for making such a big deal of it. Now we're like using it in the other direction.
I kind of still think it's I don't know how much it changes. If the starting 5 was that bad, like no one player really changes anything.
Yeah, starting lineup was a minus 25 net rating or whatever. I don't know how much
that would have mattered, but. Listen, I have a lot of questions and reservation marks about Russ, but I like they need ball handling, they need athleticism, they need to bring someone in to help the second unit, and he might be best left.
Here's an updated thought I have, Wind.
That wants to come.
This is an updated thought I have. I think it carries tremendous risk. I'm gonna get out. We talked about this yesterday in detail. Wind and I did on our emergency show. My thoughts are in there. I think that the downside of this, I don't know if the Nuggets have ever had a move, should this one be made. I don't know that there's been a move that I have felt had a lower floor, higher ceiling. You know what I mean? This is a thing that I'm like, man, what a variable that's thrown into the equation here. But I will say that as a storyteller, somebody who loves like to try to really figure out what's the story of a season, of a team, or what have you, the Russ Wood redemption arc is a really, really cool one.
Agreed.
Fool's errand here. Like, it's really dangerous to sit here and try to play this, but Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook make up one of the most interesting trios in the history of the NBA. The reverberations of that formation of a team that was 15 years ago, that there's still a story about these three brothers on a team went different directions and their careers have intersected. Westbrook, kind of the black sheep of even them. All three of them are kind of maligned, but even he is like the outsider of outsiders. And there would be something cool of Kevin Durant went to the Warriors and won 2 championships and no one gave him any credit. Nobody really cares about it and it's undervalued. James Harden has to tell everyone how good he is because nobody else will agree with him. Russell Westbrook has had his own issues, but if he ended up being the good story of the three of like, oh, do you remember when he went to the Nuggets and found his home at the end of his career and helped them win a title, even in a small bit role, and had a Holiday-esque love of the game? There is something too, when you think about a fan, what is it we're ultimately rooting for? We don't want it just to happen the way we want. Sometimes you look at it and say, okay, what would be the best story given the hand we've been dealt? And to me, that would be a cool story given the hand the Nuggets would be dealt.
It'd be a really cool story. And there's anywhere where Russell Westbrook can redeem himself, it feels like it might be Denver and next to Nikola Jokic. Like, it's really hard for a player to look bad next to Nikola Jokic. It's really hard, man. And granted, a lot of his minutes probably would come not with Nikola Jokic when he's on the second unit, but a lot of them still would. And it's really hard to look bad in those minutes. So maybe it is on the table. I think it probably is on the table, but I am with you. Like, there does seem to be a lot of risk here. Like, if it goes bad, that could derail your season.
Yeah.
I don't think that's hyperbole because I don't think it's a situation. Well, it could be, but maybe it gets to a point where you just have to like cut him or waive him or buy him out or something. Like, that's an option. Like, that could happen down the road. It could also go really well. And he does have this redemption arc, and he is a really important piece for the Nuggets as their sixth man. I think both options are possible. I feel like it could go either way, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing about the Westbrook situation not working out is it feels like it would be loud. Like, it draws eyes, it draws tension, it draws conversation.
The only thing I can even remotely compare it to, well, there were two things. One is when the Nuggets had Isaiah Thomas, but that was zero. That was way lower risk.
Yes.
Because the Nuggets didn't have really many expectations as that team that year.
And they stopped playing him. They just...
Yeah, and he was hurt when he got here. I think more hurt than the Nuggets thought. And he never really got, like, on the floor, really. And then the other one is Bones Highland, which is a situation they just rid themselves of very quickly and, nipped that in the butt before it expounded.
Right. I just think there could be a cool storyline there. There could be a cool one there. And if it works out, it can work out in a great way that actually gains you some momentum and some goodwill. So the other thing I want to say here that I think is interesting on a completely different note.
Is this on Westbrook?
No.
Okay, I have one more thing on Westbrook. And I haven't seen this reported or anything, but everybody's talking about a trade to get Westbrook to Denver. Oh, he opted into his contract. Nuggets have to trade for him. I'm not convinced a trade is what's going to land Russell Westbrook.
This is why it might take a few days. This is why it might not be like any second.
I think he could potentially just get bought out of his contract and then sign with the Nuggets on a minimum.
Yeah.
Everybody's been talking about a trade. Like, I don't, maybe that's what happens. I don't know if that's what happens. I think a scenario that could happen, though, is he opts into his contract, the Clippers buy him out, and then he signs here.
And if you're Russ, that's the one you prefer, right?
Probably, yeah.
I think it means a little bit more for him. So who knows? That's why I think it might take a little while, and I'm not like sitting by the phone here. Although that being said, now that I say that, there'll probably be an announcement any second. They're like, really good job.
There is just a really simple way to put a button on it, though, for all of the risk involved. Better than Reggie, better than just Pickett as an option.
Well, and if it does work out the way Wind is saying it possible, the risk there is I know the Nuggets would be fine waiving one of these minimum guys. Like they'd be willing to say like, okay, we gave it a shot, didn't work out. All right, let's get it, open up a roster spot, pay that off, and just go. So I do think there's a relatively lower risk there. I will say this, though. Something nobody's really talking about, other than Brian Windhorst, who was the first to mention it, although I haven't even heard it brought up too much. A week ago, we were informed that Jamal Murray had been presented with a $208 million Supermax extension, or max extension. Max extension. Since then, he has been participating in practices with the Canadian basketball team, but has yet to sign it. Is this something, Wind? Why would you sit on $208 million, not sign it, and then risk an injury by playing? To me, that seems like, that doesn't seem usual. Usually you would sign that to make sure everything's good to go.
I haven't thought about this, but it is interesting. You feel like if that was presented, it'd be something that he would sign.
If I was offered $208 million, I'd be like, I need to get this into my account the quickest possible.
You wouldn't be like, I'm going to go play a basketball game right now?
Yeah, I'm going to go risk my life. I'm going to actually, call me later. I've got a couple skydiving trips I'm going to do, and then after that, I'll come. I'm going to ride my motorcycle through traffic.
So, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, what are the possible reasons? Are we sure that it has been presented?
Yes.
So what are the reasons that he wouldn't sign it right now?
That's a great
You're
question.
asking me to recklessly speculate here, which I don't want to do. I just am saying it seems abnormal.
I mean,
to
we
me.
could go through the potential reasons. I don't think that's recklessly
too busy,
speculating.
like with the Canadian national team, so focused and
Can't sit down at a table and
doesn't
sign
seem
his
right.
name. Doesn't
Okay.
have time for that. That's one. Two, doesn't want to sign it for some reason.
right.
Three, there's no way he can not sign it, make the All-Star team, and then get a Supermax next year, because isn't it 2 out of 3 years?
To be honest with you, I don't know. I really don't know. I think you can end up getting more. At that point, you're just signing like a 5-year deal, but I don't think you would risk that for an extra year on the deal.
So yeah, it doesn't really add up to me why he would be waiting on it.
Well, the only other thing I would say is, we talked about nobody reached out to DaRon Holmes. Vibe's a little bit low. I think everybody kind of needs a break, and I just wonder if there's even a little bit of that, of like, tension of just some type. Not that he's not going to sign it. Again, at the end of the day, if he doesn't sign it, the Nuggets still have his rights. They still have what you want with him. But there is something to, like, it's $208 million. It just seems like most guys would sign that immediately. And most guys certainly, I mean, we've seen this before with players. Why isn't he playing in Summer League? Well, he's got the deal. He's got to wait. They got to get the paperwork through. But once he's done, he'll participate in practice. This is a guy that's out there practicing with $208 million in sort of a risk. And I don't want to start too much speculation. I do anticipate that he's going to sign it, but it is one where I go, And Windhorst, like I said, is the one that said, hey, he did the whole, that's very strange. Why is that? And so you just look at that and go, all right, Murray, that is interesting. Hopefully we get news of that here before we all go to break for 4th of July.
Well, the moratorium period ends July 6th, right?
For him to sign?
I don't know if he's eligible to sign it until July 6th.
Is that right?
Chat was saying that.
Windhorst even brought it up on Hoop Collective today.
Although I would say we're getting the news and reports from Woj and Shans about other people extending.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe it's...
Right. You would think if it's been agreed upon, it would be put out there.
Right. It would be official in the form of a
just
Woj
like Jason
tweeter.
Tatum's just became official. I just saw 5 minutes ago.
Right.
Jason Tatum, richest player in the NBA now, richest deal in the NBA. How do you feel about that?
He's probably got a couple million for you vote.
Well, actually, I'll tease it. We'll talk about that on the other side. Why? Because the Celtics just won a championship and said, second apron, no problem.
He's not even their finals MVP.
Let's sign everybody to max contracts. They seem to be okay with it. On the other side.
Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR trucks. They've always been a part of Toyota's DNA. For generations, Toyota has built durable legends that's destined for greatness and perfect for Colorado. Whether you want cars, trucks, SUVs, hybrids, Grand Highlanders, Toyota has it all. 17 models with available all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive like the Epic 4Runner. Zero-emission and low-emission vehicles as well. There's 16 different hybrid vehicles on Toyota's line, like the Tundra, iForce Max Hybrid. Tons of SUVs as well, the RAV4, the Grand Highlander. Make sure to visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of the Denver Nuggets and the official vehicle of DNVR.
You know who else is a proud partner of the Denver Nuggets? The fellas at Red Hawk Roofing. Every now and then, life gets a little loud, a little messy, messes with your roof. You know what I mean? Some thick hail, Maybe it's just wear and tear over the years. Whatever the deal is, if you need a roof over your home or business, I know who you should call, and it's our good friends at Red Hawk Roofing, the best roofers in Denver and a part of the DNVR team. Quality materials, decades of experience, quick response time. Colorado's best estimators and contractors, huge DNVR supporters. I consider them homies, drinking homies, if you will. And you guys, you can be homies with them too. Little DaRon Holmes talk while they're up on the roof. Ask them what they think about the depth while they risk their lives to fix your roof for you. These guys are great. Supporting your local teams means also supporting local businesses like Red Hawk Roofing. If you're looking for a new roof over your home or business, be sure to check out Red Hawk Roofing at redhawkroofing.com or call 720-771-8921 and tell them DNVR sent you.
Back here, segment 3. By the way, up on the DNVR.com right now, I have a film study deep dive on DaRon Holmes. Worked on it over the weekend. I like it. A lot of clips on what I think his parts of his game are going to translate, what parts I think will not. He's an interesting guy, and it was fun to get into the tape of it. I missed it, man. I missed it getting into the tape.
What did you find out about him that you didn't know before?
Quite a bit, to be honest with you. He, first of all, we've been talking about this now for a little bit and put it on Twitter, but he was 4th in college in free throw attempts. The guy gets to the line.
Mr. Tommy brought that up today.
Mr. Tommy did bring that up today. I think he might have read the article. No, but yeah, I'm sure they had this in the scout. But he's really good at drawing fouls, and he draws them in a very specific way. He did have a lot of Mark Jackson-esque post-ups that I don't think he'll get in the NBA level. 9 dribbles as he slowly backs a guy down, and nobody helps.
And doesn't really get through the wall.
But he also has some things I really like to his game. Offensive rebounding, especially off his own misses. Z-bounds, as they're called. He's really good at those. I think he'll learn to play the dunker spot very well. I think that, he just plays hard. His motor, and I kind of show some different ways that he rolls to the rim and does different things. He hasn't had a great lob thrower in his college. In fact, if you look at Dayton, they had like 5 guys average the same number of assists. They didn't seem to have a point guard. It was like all 4.
This was your bad point guard theory.
You give him a good point guard, and maybe it'll help out a little bit, or maybe you just give him a Jokic. But my number one takeaway is just that he's really good at sealing, and I compare him. I show some clips of him and some clips of Aaron Gordon and say, like, this is one way that Aaron Gordon plays off of Jokic really well, and DaRon Holmes, it's like his number one way of scoring. So I think there's something there. And if AG is up for the task, and if DaRon Holmes is up to learn from him, I think that there's a lot he can learn from AG and how to play.
That was a really, really cool one. That was, I thought, it's pretty easy to just say, like, oh, I like the way Jokic plays. Like, that's would be the first and last thing I said as a rookie. But the AG thing is, especially because versatility is the word the front office keeps throwing around for Holmes. And I just think AG is a really wise choice in terms of, like, trying to position yourself under his wing, you know, or viewing him that way. I think a guy who had a pretty malleable game that changed a lot over the course of the years as he searched for the best version of himself on a good team. And I just think it's a really cool emulation and role model for Holmes.
Something else that Tommy said about Holmes real quick that I thought was very notable. He kind of said he might play some center. Calvin Booth was like, he's 100% a 4. I felt like Tommy Bracelets was like, he can play a bunch of different positions.
Me too. I thought that was and he even kind of addressed how Calvin had talked about it. But I think the idea is that they feel like they're not boxed into one or the other with Holmes, and that's maybe a lot of the value of the pick.
I will say that I think that he's not a lock to play his rookie season. I mean, this is one thing that I think it's like, okay, pencil him in for X amount of minutes. He is going to have to earn those, and I think rightfully so. He's going to have to earn those minutes. He's not so talented that you just say he has to play. You have to give him minutes over, whoever else is going to be there. He's going to have to earn them, and he is different than the other guys I think they will have as options in those spots. He has different skill set, but he's going to have to earn them, and I hope he does. It'll be interesting to see. I actually think, and this is probably a conversation for a little later, I think Denver's front court battle is going to be a very interesting one. I think there's a lot of guys that could emerge from that dog pile.
Especially if Vlatko, let's say, is back and is healthy.
I will say that I think the guy that they sign at backup center, that guy's going to be in the rotation every night and playing like 15 to 20 minutes.
Very, very likely, but we'll see. All right, let's get now to some of the other news from around the association. The first one, Second apron. Who's afraid of the second apron? Certainly not the reigning NBA champion Boston Celtics, who are signing everybody to max extensions.
Yeah, they don't give a shit.
Curiously enough, also for sale. Two things.
Amazing 1-2 news dump. Amazing. Derek White, almost $200 million. Also, we're selling the team.
I love the idea of writing enormous checks and then asking who wants to buy this team. But
someone will.
I will say this though.
You just put the check on the desk unsigned. Just send it in unsigned.
The Clippers, the Warriors, the Nuggets, there are teams that are hiding from the tax. There's teams that are flirting with it, or the second apron, I should say. Teams that are flirting with it. The Boston Celtics just blew right past it and said, F it, this is our squad. And rightfully so. Like Denver, they had a great starting five. Their vibe's a little bit higher. Maybe some of their guys a little bit younger, I don't know, think that they can have a longer runway, but they seem to be okay with blowing up their salary cap sheet.
I mean, that's what people want the Nuggets to do.
Yeah.
And I get the argument. And the second apron bullshit is so complicated. I still don't have a great grasp of why the Nuggets want to avoid it. I still don't.
Really? I think I know. I feel pretty confident. The second apron?
Yeah.
It's the difficulty in making any deals. I will say this. I think the Nuggets view transactions in the Calvin era significantly different than Tim. I think Tim viewed them as when necessary. I think Cal views it as when opportunistic. And so I think that for him, whether he's right or wrong, he views this as, no, we're going to make moves. It's going to happen. And if we're in that second apron, it's almost impossible to.
I mean, it's interesting because they haven't made a ton of big moves over the last 2 years.
You don't think?
Not really. Like in terms
I mean, they
of,
got rid of Bones.
I mean, you could do that trade in the second apron. So 1-for-0 trade.
Yeah.
And also, as far as situations in which you might talk yourself into doing it, first of all, the Boston Celtics don't have to make any moves. Like, if they could just bring this roster back forever, they should pay any dollar amount to do that. It's a great roster. But I do think if there's a next team in that position after Boston, it's probably Denver, who has one of the best players ever in his prime. And so you might argue, like, man, sure, fine. If it gets harder in 3-4 years from now, it does. But like, this is a winnable league. Go get it.
I think part of what's funny about the Celtics versus the Nuggets is both have a starting five that they absolutely believe in. Boston's bench, that just don't seem like they care. Denver, It's like, you can't win without this bench. And I think, honestly, part of this is the sense of Denver being two teams, a starter and a bench, whereas Boston just doesn't feel that way. They feel much more of a blend between the two. But it's like Sam Hauser.
Yeah.
It was fine. And nobody cared.
Right. Yeah. And that is true. And then also, like, another advantage they have is they're in the East. And so, like, when it's January, you can just play Sam Hauser and not worry about if you lose to Team XYZ.
This is actually, I think, very pertinent.
So, yeah, it matters. But here's my point. I'm not saying it's this simple, but if there was a position to be in where you could convince yourself, let's just do it. Let's just do it. This team is good enough. We'll get one of the next two. Denver does have Jokic. That you could argue they're in that position.
Yeah, comparing the Nuggets situation to the Celtics situation, I don't see how it's that different.
I agree.
And it's just interesting how the Celtics view it as, yeah, we're fine not being able to make any moves during the season. And the Nuggets view it as that would not be fine.
Which is crazy, though, because I'm with you, Win. They don't really make moves anyway.
And look, I think, we could look back at this and the Nuggets will be looked back on as very smart for avoiding the second apron. I'm sure we could get to a scenario, down the line where Denver looks back in what they did. You consider it the right decision.
Yeah.
Like, we could get to that. So, I mean, you've got to trust that they have a good feel for what they're doing now. But it's just interesting that two teams in pretty similar situations, it feels like to me, chose different approaches.
Totally. Yeah. That was my first reaction to the Derek White news. And I will say,
Denver's slightly older, I will say.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. 2 years older between Derek White and KCP, which is at that position in particular a little more meaningful, even if I still think
the boot stuff is funny because a lot of people don't like it, and I'm not saying anyone has to. They don't. He did just straight up get up there 2 years ago and tell us,
right.
Like, this is how it's going to go.
Yeah.
This is how it's going to go. So this is the plan. It is a longer term plan. You buckle up if they're back in this finals this year. You might even, like Win said, come all the way around and feel good about how they've handled it. But in the meantime, in the last 2 years, there were decisive champions who looked considerably best than the rest of the league. And one of those two teams was like, I'm keeping this team together, and the other team is a little more comfortable with the turnover. And that's just the facts, whether you agree with them or not.
Colin Gillespie, by the way, breaking news. No way,
dude.
Colin Gillespie has agreed on a 2-way deal, which is kind of funny, with the Phoenix Suns.
Good for him.
With the Phoenix Suns. It's kind of funny.
They need
that
a
he
point
went there.
guard.
So there you go. You might end up having a Pickett.
That somehow bums me out.
I know, it actually
does bum me out. I think the Suns might be the team that I like.
You kind of hate them
the
so
Celtics,
much.
I know why I hate them so much. The Lakers, I know why we hate them so much.
Yeah.
The Suns, I kind of just do. Even before I could explain it to you, I just don't. I don't care for them.
I mean, he's kind of Tyler Kolicky.
Oh, that's
and
right.
that's who they kind of wanted in the draft.
That's true. It would be hilarious, actually, if I wish they played in Summer League. A Pickett Colin face-off for all the marbles in a meaningless game would actually be pretty hilarious.
Michael Malone coaching one side, Calvin Booth coaching the other.
Michael Malone's come down to coach the Phoenix Suns Summer League team. Would be ridiculous.
Dude, can you imagine giving the biggest deal in NBA history to not your Finals MVP?
Oh my God! Because we can't
Dude,
do this.
you gotta take the L on this,
You gotta take
man.
it L
You got
because you're
to.
gonna curse us to another Celtics title. Like
I like this idea that it was my fault. This is not the Nuggets.
I'm not saying it's not.
The
I'm not
Nuggets were
saying it's-
supposed to stop them. That was the problem.
Well, you want to know the real deal we haven't even talked about here. Isaiah Hartenstein, my guy, is on the Oklahoma City Thunder for $87 million. 3 years. By the way, Goga Batazde just got $25 million. Centers right now, very in demand. Centers getting all the money. But first of all, I'll tell you what. I put this out a week ago. I'm kicking myself for seeing this one around the corner. Perfect fit. I hate this one, and I'm worried about the Thunder. You guys take it or not with me?
no, the Thunder are good and they got better.
No, I'm saying with Hartenstein. I think that is to me, I look at that and I go, they have a Twin Towers. Chet is a phenomenal weak side rim protector in the Rui adjustment. He's a great Rui adjustment player. Hartenstein is a good person to throw at Jokic as the number one, like you're going to use up 4 fouls in 26 minutes, but he's good. He'll make Jokic work. He rebounds his ass off. He runs the floor. He works hard. I just look at that and I go, man, now they have the formula on top of all the other stuff they had.
Hartenstein's starting for them?
I think against Denver he would. I don't know if he. I mean, I would assume you.
Who's there for?
Do you really? Chet. It was Jalen Williams. They played small with Giddey there.
Okay.
But now you get rid of Giddey and you move everybody up a spot.
Jalen was kind of a stretch, right?
A stretch 4.
So
now he's a big 3.
does this give someone for Jokic to
You
guard?
probably got to start Hartenstein.
But if you
I think
do,
so. I think they do. They're giving him $90 million. I
Yeah,
think they're
I mean,
starting.
come
him.
hang on. Does this give Jokic someone to
Got to fly
guard?
up to Oregon for $90 million.
That's not
Gotta
Chet on
start
pick
him.
and pop.
The thing is that Hartenstein he is maybe number 1 in the NBA in the run to the left wing, set a screen, roll hard, right to the right wing. It's actually exhausting to guard him, even if he's not good. Although I do think he is good. Like he actually can pass and do some stuff, and he rolls to the rim, and he's athletic.
No, you're right. It's not just he's like a stationary
Yeah,
guy.
he's not posting
that's a good
up.
point. That's a good point.
So I just look at this and I go, man, I love that move for them. I saw it coming because I was thinking about once they signed Mikal Bridges, I was like, Hartenstein's out. Where could he go? So I look at this one and I go, I love that fit. I think it makes them great. And then Klay Thompson to Dallas. I actually don't know how I feel about this one.
I love that fit for Klay Thompson, man. I mean, that's a great move for Dallas. Like, they needed a little more firepower. They needed another scorer.
Yeah.
They needed another threat. And, like, they got Klay Thompson, man. It's a great move.
that is all true. And yet they also had a lot of possessions in the finals where I was like, does this team even have a coach? And I don't know if like late stage Klay has a little bit of like, yo, watch me do this.
Yeah.
Watch this one-footed off the wrong foot, and I'm not Jokic. But I could also see him just being a catch-and-shoot god again. And there's maybe something... Klay is such a weird guy, psychologically. There's maybe something to him needing to get out of what Golden State had become. And like a fresh start, man, where because like guys just want him to shoot and no one's mad at him. Maybe it helps him. Maybe it helps him a lot.
Yeah. So those are the moves. I think some teams definitely getting better. It's kind of sucks to see, but Hartenstein to me is the big one. That one hurts. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, we're gonna have some fun by snake drafting X. Now, actually, is this fun?
It might go both ways.
Calvin's got to get his backup center. He's got to get in the kitchen and just get one, Get in the kitchen.
I can't believe we're doing this.
Also, everyone's going to be like, not even a center, but whatever. That's fine. Here we go.
Manscaped. Guys, check out Manscaped. Get set up for the summer with Manscaped. You can check out the Lawnmower 5.0. It comes in the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. A lot of stuff comes in there. Lawnmower 5.0, you get the Beard Hedger. You get deodorants as well. You get the Shed Travel Bag too. Tons of great options from Manscaped in that Performance Package 5.0. You need it for the summer. Just like the lawnmower, the Beard Hedger is also waterproof, so you can handle your beard grooming right in the sink or shower as well without worrying about water damage. With up to 60 minutes of runtime and an LED charge indicator, you'll never get caught mid-trim with a dead battery. So you get that in that Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code Nuggets20 at manscaped.com. 20% off plus free shipping with the code Nuggets20 at manscaped.com. No more juggling multiple tools or dealing with subpar results. Just efficient, effective grooming wherever you need it.
The American Raptors are Colorado's only professional rugby team. You can catch their games on ESPN Plus. You can also catch them at Infinity Park, where they play their home games. Beautiful park in Glendale, Colorado, with a thriving rugby culture. If you didn't know, now you know. We have a weekly DNVR rugby podcast as well. It's hosted by the homie Colton Strickler, who I probably haven't seen in over a calendar year, but I really like that guy. So Colton, if for any reason you're watching this ad break, keep doing you, brother. Also, if you really want to learn more about rugby, or you already know a lot, for either reason, you should dive into that pod, hosted weekly by our guy Colton. And keep your eyes peeled for some sweet family fun events this summer at Infinity Park. Save the date for a Colorado movie night on Monday, July 8th, featuring the Trolls Band Together. Hell yeah, dude. Bring your kids to that one. Gates open at 6 p.m. and the movie starts at 7 p.m. Moviegoers are encouraged to bring their own chairs, blankets, and pet coolers with their favorite snacks. Man, I want to go now. Please leave grills and glass containers at home. For those not bringing food, on-site food trucks will offer delicious options for purchase. And here's the fun part. All movie nights in 2024 are free. That's right, FREE to attend. Don't miss out on this fun, family-friendly event at Infinity Park.
All right, there you go. Time to snake draft, boys. With KCP gone. Best Jokic era well, that's not how this is. It's best ex-Nuggets. Ex-Nuggets. Nuggets who have come through but are no longer here.
Oh, he's going to live edit. Let's go, dude.
This is why he's the best.
This isn't like best as in who the best player was.
No, favorite. I should actually be favorite. Yeah.
It's really just
favorite.
However you want to draft.
No, make it favorite so people don't think like your team sucks. What is this?
Yeah.
You got Wancho?
Like, hey, man, Shaq Harrison can't shoot. Well, I really liked him. So
Thomas Welsh? What are we doing here? It's a favorite. How's
Kale not in this draft?
There's not.
Yeah, that's so true. Because we didn't want to have to get Ian Clark on our list.
We need to have 4 people in the draft.
They're so true. All right, number 1 pick is Win because he was the winner in the last one, and he set the order. Made me last as they always do. They scared, baby. They scared.
Yeah, we're scared of the guy that's
never won. Yeah. You sound like a Lakers fan.
I think there's a clear 1-1 pick here.
There's a clear number 1? I don't.
In my opinion. And it was between 2 guys, I think, but then it became obvious that there was a clear 1-1. And it's a guy who had longevity, who meant a lot to this franchise.
Wow, the suspense is killing me.
And who was the original Mr. Nugget, and that's Gary Harris.
I knew it, and I would have done the same thing.
Really? I am blown away by this.
Why?
Gary Harris is the number 1 ex-Nugget because he wasn't on the championship team.
I mean, so?
Gary Harris is probably the highest approval rating of former Nuggets.
But what, are you going to take Thomas Bryant in the first round?
No.
He was on the championship team.
I'm the 3rd pick. I'll have to wait and see.
Who has a higher approval rating?
Yeah. Gary Harris, first ever Mr. Nugget.
I agree.
First ever player who learned how to play with Nikola Jokic.
Okay.
Had an all-time iconic moment as a Nugget, the game-winning shot against OKC. He clearly, I think, is the first pick in this draft.
Okay. All right. Vote.
I'm going to go with a fitting 2nd pick here because it's just a slightly worse version of the first overall pick. Monte Morris, we still love you, brother.
I am blown away. I am so blown away by this. This is incredible. This is why I always lose the draft.
First of all,
I'm
just
for
to be
everybody
clear,
else.
it's the first and second ever Mr. Nugget, so it's not that outlandish.
Yeah. Monte very high on my board. Not the second guy on my board, though.
I'm doing it. I'm taking KCP, number 3. Are you kidding me?
Dude,
the guy
I
was
forgot
unbelievable.
he was an option already. Because it's sad.
Just talked about that before the show.
I know.
It's actually the reason we're doing
I know. I
this.
forgot to factor him into the.
I'm going to take KCP, and then I'm going to follow it up and take Bruce. I got Brucey B.
Good pick.
KCP and Brucey B.
All right, I am going to take another one of my
I
personal
can't
favorites.
believe I just got 2. I can't believe this draft
You
I just
actually
got.
might be winning after your first 2 picks for
Whew,
the
I'm
first
going to
time
blow
ever.
it. I can't wait to blow this.
I am going to take. He is look the ones who've been around since the show started. This one needs no explanation. Ollie Star coming
let's
through.
go. That's
Give
a
me
great
fan
one.
favorite Juancho. Hernan Gomez. Let's go,
I
baby.
think it's a good one. I think
Let's
you
go.
think you reached. I think you could have gotten him when he came back around.
No, I was going to take him next.
Historically, bad sign for you, Adam. But I do think I
so
do
bad.
think
I've been
you're
off
looking.
on everyone.
But I actually think you're off to a
Yeah,
great
I don't
start.
think you're getting the
exercise.
meaning of this draft.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
my favorites. I
He's
love
trying to-
KCP and Bruce, though. That's
right
the
after
thing.
the best conversation, he's just drafting the best team he can. All right, here we go.
Wind.
Man, I feel like this is where the draft drops off a little bit.
There's a drop. There's a real drop off here.
Yeah. So, I'm going to take a guy who is maligned by some portions of the fan base.
Faku.
Not on my board. But, this guy, if you're a real one, if you're a real Nuggets fan in the Jokic era, you know how integral this guy was to the beginning and I'll say middle stages of this era. And that's Will Barton.
Great pick.
Oh man, I think you're going to lose the vote on that one. You are. It's a good pick because you're following your heart, but you got 0 votes.
I'm not
now.
about pandering.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
true.
That's the thing.
I
We draft
don't
with our
pander
hearts.
in the draft.
what I
Bad
always
pick.
like, yeah.
That's how I know you weren't here.
That's why you weren't
Bad
here.
pick, guys. Juancho. Oh, you guys
know.
don't even know. Maybe you actually were here and you just earnestly disagree. That's also fine.
It gets really hard after this, guys. All right, where are you going, Wind?
Third round, I might be jumping on this guy early, but I just know he's not getting back to me. So I got to take him here. Another early Jokic era guy. Another guy who was very early on the Nikola Jokic is good bandwagon. And that's Mike Miller.
Oh, I can't believe you took him from me. That was my guy.
But I like it.
Oh, I love Mike
It's a
Miller.
round earlier than I wanted to take him, but
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't getting past you guys.
I know you weren't going to get him on the way back. That's a great pick, man. That's a great pick. I thought I could get him.
All right, I've got one.
By the way, shouts in the chat. Bobby Gonzalez shows up to Summer League with a Mike Miller jersey. He has a Mike Miller Nuggets jersey, man. You might think it's Andre Miller. Nope, it's Mike Miller.
Mike Miller. Okay, I'm going to go for, man, this is, if you were outside of Denver, you just looked at the numbers and you thought, what is that contract? For those of us who have been here for the life of the Jokic era, great contract, great signing, great presence. Paul Millsap, put it on the
Yeah,
board.
I
Kale
think
knew
that's
started
the right-
typing before
Yeah,
even.
It's tough because that's kind of the boring one, but it really is the good one.
It is a good one. Like, he's a great Jokic. He is a little boring, but I also feel like we all quietly loved Paul
Do you
Millsap.
remember how when he used to be so good at Magic and
and his
I do
tic-tac?
remember that.
Called
You guys
him
remember
Dad.
that? Dad?
Like
called
Paul
him Dad.
Millsap is a guy who needs to get taken in this draft, but
Yeah.
he's not an exciting pick.
Right.
Happens every draft.
Right.
We're like, dang it.
That's why, like, third round
Right.
feels good. Third round feels
I'll
good.
take Walker Kessler. I'm going with PJ Dozier. How did he fall this far? PJ Dozier. Are you talking about PJ Composure? Partisan legend?
Adam's just trying to build a team.
PJ Dozier, come on. There are much better players out there. I love PJ Dozier.
That's a good pick.
And now, man, this is where it gets really tough. There was one year where this was actually incredible. The Jokic to Fareed combo was really fun.
Oh, it's good, man.
Taking Kenneth Fareed. I didn't always love Manimal, but there was that one year he was great with Yoke. I'm taking him.
That's a good pick.
Not bad, not bad. Vote?
Fuck, dude.
It's
Sorry.
getting tough. We're going to get some not so great players coming up.
It's tough because fifth round you can do like a fun kind of joke
Yeah,
guy
you would
pick,
think.
but fourth round's a little early. I feel like I got to make a real pick here. Oh, man. Dude, I feel like this guy could play right now for the Nuggets and help them. Jameer Nelson. Shout out Jameer Nelson. I love Jameer Nelson. A tiny king.
This is a wild
Do you
thing.
even remember Jameer Nelson? Honestly.
No, I don't. Actually, I want to change my... No, I don't want to change my pick. Or do I?
That's already written down.
All right, it's already written.
Man. I feel like I got to go talent here in the 4th round. I know this isn't a best players draft.
You don't have to
but,
go talent.
I mean, at some point, talent kind of outweighs the mystique of some of these guys. So I'm gonna go Danilo Gallinari.
That's a good pick. I think it's a good pick. So, by the way,
He didn't sign the ball, but he was still an instrumental part of this era.
I don't know, man. He's like maybe the one guy that didn't get along with Jokic.
I was gonna say, so Jeff Morton, is watching along with us, the homie, and he's texted me and he goes, "You got to take Gallo or whatever." And I'm thinking, I loved Gallo before Jokic, but I didn't love Gallo after Jokic. You know what I mean? Like he was more the staple of the pre-Jokic era. But yeah, I don't know. Didn't sign that ball. You guys remember that?
It's not that I don't think it's that Gallo hated Jokic.
He didn't. He didn't.
He was just the best player.
Yeah, it was.
It's a fun narrative to spin, though.
It is a fun narrative.
When I'm trying to win this draft. So nice pick, loser.
All right, I have Kale. I have a pretty good.
It's my pick.
Oh yeah, it's your pick.
And then I go.
Oh wow, I'm just
buckle up.
furthest. I'm the furthest from the pick. All right, go ahead.
There's a bunch of guys I'm debating here.
It's so tough. Our last picks are getting real tough. Jack
They're
White's on my board. We're right now looking.
Wow,
the
not on
committee
my
is
board.
looking to see if Jack White should go.
All these guys are kind of the
down
same
on that.
player. All these guys are kind of the same player.
Who are you thinking between?
Dude,
It's the last pick, so it's not
Shaq
like you're
Harrison
gonna ruin
shout
it.
out in the chat.
I know.
What?
You might as well share who you thinking about.
Not
'cause
Shaq Harrison, not Jeremy Grant, not Randy Floyd. He was pre-Jokic, I think.
You still got Bol.
Not on my board.
You've got a he tweeted recently.
Do you remember Summer League Bol?
That was fun for a week. Oh no, more like a day.
I love Hartenstein, but I don't know that he was a great former Nugget.
He's definitely not, dude.
Everyone hated him. He had a hunch.
I'm gonna go with Darrell Arthur.
Oh, great pick.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Darth.
Darrell
That's not a guy
Arthur.
we like, but the normal fan.
What do you mean the normal fan? Are we not the normal fan?
I'm just saying you see him behind the scene, nice guy. The average fan, he just was a guy that played a little bit.
Darrell Arthur, great, pretty good player in the early Jokic years. Now an assistant coach, just a true Nugget, and early believer in Jokic.
Okay.
Man, I don't want to do it, but I don't think he should go undrafted. I want to make my 5th round joke that's going to lose me the draft if I haven't already. But I also feel like there's another name that needs to go here. There's 2 more names.
I think I got my guy unless you take him right here.
Fuck it.
Also, Darrell Arthur, first ever guest on my first podcast.
Kale,
Hell yeah.
I'm not losing. I'm not winning this draft. It's time to stay true to myself.
Let's do it. Yeah.
No. Close. It's the original bit. Thomas Welsh put it on the board.
Thomas Welsh, the original bit. I'm going to round out the show by taking one of the few guys whose names has been chanted at this very bar, Austin Rivers. Taking Austin Rivers. And it really is like I was thinking I really wanted to take Bones. But it's like it kind of ended so sour.
You can't take him.
You can't take Bones now. Austin Rivers did give us an incredible game. He gave us a series win. He filled in at the last minute. He loved Jokic. He gave us, think about all the stories he gave us. He gave us great stories about Jokic. One of my all-time favorite Jokic stories, letting him shoot on the main court, go on the side court. Everybody fucks with Mike. He's got some great all-timers,
Dude, he
man.
did.
Yeah, he was just really warming up for the ESPN gig.
He really was. So that's my squad. I'm sticking to it. We'll put it out on social. You can let us know, or you can let us know in the chat.
Can I?
What do you guys think?
There's a couple we forgot already.
But yeah, let's go through honorable
All right,
mentions.
Torrey Craig,
And no, you think I was going to draft
Wilson
him?
Chandler.
Wilson Chandler was on my board.
I thought about like Jameer could be Wilson instead. To be honest,
Highest on my board in order right now are Bones Highland, Wilson Chandler, Mason Plumlee, Malik Beasley, Facu, Bol. Then I have Torrey Craig.
Not on your board.
Well, then Torrey Craig. And then after that, nobody serious. Then you get into Jack White, Hartenstein, Jeremy Grant, Vanderbilt.
I'm going to get like 7% of the vote. But the real ones will appreciate my draft.
All right, that does it, guys. Maybe some news breaks here before long. In the meantime, check out the DNVR.com if you want to see the scout. Oh, we do have Superchats.
And they're all from Cedric.
Cedric.
Just kidding. Just this one. No vote. I love how he just starts by telling someone no.
No
And
vote
I don't
is a
even
great
know what
start.
it's no to. No vote. We need our ultimate glue guy, KCP. It hurts, but hopefully Holmes is good enough to help us. Also, I don't care. We need to trade someone to keep Aaron Gordon. Maybe. Could have just paid them all. Sir Lobo 92. Hola, amigos. I have been a little detached from the NBA since Game 7. Still not very fully recovered. Hi from France.
We understand, man. I'll tell you what. I believe there are some Nuggets coaches, executives, owners, and players who are not quite over Game 7 yet.
Yeah. And they also might agree with this next thing he says, which is stupid second apron. I hoped for 4 or 5 seasons of the same starting 5. The NBA has miscalculated. In my opinion, team continuity is one of long-term value for the league. But I guess they won Twitter for the weekend.
I agree, man.
I don't even know if they won Twitter, to be honest. It's kind of boring.
Oh, like free agency?
Yeah, like Twitter was actually an underwhelming free agent. I feel like usually it's way more interesting.
I know.
Bobby Gonzalez. Warriors and Clay situation shows how much the CBA has changed league. Nuggets did what they had to do. It's not popular, but it's for the best. Day is coming when they have to pick between MPJ and AG.
Ooh, spicy. I will say this. I remember because I followed LeBron's career, because a lot of people are like, that's it, window's closed, team will never be good again. Yoke's career's over. And I just remember everybody doing this about LeBron in 2011. He's still playing.
Right.
I don't think Yoke's going to play till he's 40, but I do think the perspective of, oh my God, it's all over. Everything that's happening now will just extend for the next 8 years. It's like, I don't know, guys. Things go like this.
Right. They didn't stay good forever. They won't stay bad
We
forever.
should play bingo with all of the insults that get thrown out by Nuggets fans right now.
They're feeling it, man. Let them feel.
Calvin wasting Jokic's prime, window closed.
Yeah.
Ownership cheap.
Yeah.
In the meantime, BPOW44 paid to say this. Honestly, I'm okay with everyone thinking Minnesota, Dallas, and OKC are better than Denver. The team plays best as underdogs. They certainly didn't do great as favorites. Macahuru. Bring in Russell Westbrook. I think the bench needs his confidence. I like that angle. Peyton needs to keep him as a mentor and develop, in my opinion, just like KCP was to Brown.
What the?
I know. Sorry.
Dude, what?
Are you okay?
Are you all right?
I'm sorry, guys. Excuse me.
What's going on?
Christian Brown. And it's spelled Brown. All right. Cedric Exquisite. Why can't we get Gary Harris back to Mr. Nuggets? just stack them all up.
Dude, you missed it on yesterday's show. Somebody said Russell Westbrook will be the next Mr. Nugget.
Not a chance. Timur Tahir.
maybe.
Give us the initials of the C of the center Denver is signing.
No.
I'll tell you, wouldn't give you enough hints.
Yeah,
Cedric
so
Exquisite.
many hints.
Vote, don't curse that. Shake my head. Oh, the Tatum thing. Guys, they already won the title. Hashtag shut up and take my money.
All right.
Okay, I will.
I will say, on the Russell Westbrook front, one guy who he's very close with on the Nuggets is Peyton Watson.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Both from Southern California. Russell Westbrook was actually like one of the first big name guys to go to Peyton Watson's high school games.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. One of the first signs I thought maybe Peyton would be too Hollywood for Denver, but maybe they'll team up.
We're bringing Hollywood to Denver.
Yeah. The new Denver, folks. Jay says, do you like it more if Joker and DJ want Westbrook?
I mean, of course. It doesn't mean everything, but it is. I'd like it a lot more than if it was like Jokic had no thoughts on it.
Listen, I was all in on JaMychal Green once Jokic told us he wanted to play with him for the rest of his life.
Career.
That's it.
All right, outro music. Everybody, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back tomorrow. Hit the like button on the way out.
We all silly like the mayor.